Let me ask you something right off the bat. Have you ever been so mad, so bone-deep furious, that you could taste copper in your mouth and feel your pulse pounding in your ears? I'm talking about the kind of rage that's almost funny, because if you don't laugh, you'll probably break something. That was me, Garrett Blackwood, just about a year ago. Picture this. I'm standing in my driveway, grease under my fingernails, a foreclosure notice in one hand, and a burning sense of injustice in the other. If you told me then that in a year's time, I'd not only save my house, but end up owning the very people who try to take it from me, well, I would have called you crazy. But here we are. And you better believe I'm not just telling you how I survived. I'm going to show you how I won. So, rewind to 15 years ago, before the drama, before the legal mess, before I learned more about HOA bylaws than any sane person ever should. Back then, I was just a tired old electrician trying to rebuild after my wife, Sarah, passed away. Cancer took her fast, too fast, and what it left me was a fat insurance check and a hollow ache that kept me awake most nights. You know, everyone tells you to take time, let yourself grieve, but grief doesn't pay the damn bills, and it sure as hell doesn't build a future. I took that check and bought a half-acre lot in a place called Willowbrook Estates, right outside Tulsa. The developer was broke, selling lots cheap, and I guess I was broke in my own way too, just not the financial kind. Sarah and I, well, mostly Sarah, she'd sketched out her dream house on the backs of napkins during chemo appointments. Ranch style, big kitchen window, facing the sunrise, enough room for grandkids we'd never have. I spent 2 years building the house with my own hands, every 2x4, every nail, every outlet. It was therapy and torture all at once, but it kept me breathing. The work saved me. Back then, Willowbrook was nothing, just a few scattered houses and a lot of empty fields. No HOA, no rules, just neighbors minding their own. My old Ford sat in the driveway, like it belonged there. The first sign of trouble showed up in a white BMW with plates that probably cost more than my truck. Enter Miranda Ashworth. Picture perfect, fake smile, the type who'd spray perfume on her dog before walking it. She rolled in, ran for HOA president within 6 months, and started talking about community standards like it was the Gettysburg Address. You ever get a letter that smells like someone's trying too hard? That's how the violation notices started. Heavy paper, thick perfume, and always her signature in this blood-red ink, like she was stamping out a war decree. First, it was my work truck, then my workshop shed, then a damn basketball hoop my nephew left behind. Fines stacked up, $50, $100, $500. When I told her I never signed any HOA paperwork. Hell, there wasn't even an HOA when I bought my lot. She just smiled like I was a stubborn dog who didn't get the trick. Then came the bombshell. A foreclosure notice, $47,000 in fees and fines, 30 days to pay or lose the house. My house, the one I'd sweated and bled for. I called Miranda, hoping for a trace of decency. All I got was, "You should have read the fine print, Mr. Blackwood. Due diligence is part of homeownership." I've never wanted to throw a phone so bad in my life. That night, sitting in Sarah's kitchen, watching the sky turn black through her favorite window, I made a decision. They wanted to fight? Fine. But they'd never met stubborn like a man with nothing left to lose. Miranda didn't wait. She called an emergency board meeting. Couldn't let my truck threaten property values a day longer, apparently. Her voice, all fake concern, floated over coffee shop tables as she convinced everyone my defiance was destroying their investments. But here's the thing about bullies. They rarely know the law as well as they think they do. So I did what stubborn men do. I parked myself at my kitchen table, coffee brewing, and dove headfirst into Oklahoma HOA law. Turns out, there's a minimum 30-day notice period for foreclosures. Miranda's fast-track scheme? Illegal as sin. Monday, I filed for an emergency injunction. Cost me $300. I didn't have to spare, but it was worth every penny just to see the look on her face in court when the judge asked, "Did your board consult counsel before attempting to circumvent state law?" Her cheeks went from Botox white to lobster red. The judge gave me the 30 days, made the HOA pay my fees, and Miranda stormed out, heels clicking like gunshots. For the first time in months, I let myself believe maybe, just maybe, I could win. But Miranda wasn't finished. 2 days later, code enforcement showed up. Anonymous tip, sir, about unpermitted electrical work. Sure enough, I'd forgotten to file a permit on a 220-volt outlet 8 years ago. A $15 permit turned into a $15,000 fine, and they threatened my contractor's license. I looked out my kitchen window and saw Miranda in hers, arms crossed, watching like she'd already won. The more they pushed, the more I dug. I spent days in the county records office, breathing in the must of old paper, following the money trail. That's when the first twist hit, a real "are you kidding me" moment. Turns out Willowbrook's HOA charter expired in 2007. No one renewed it. All those fines, those rules, that board, legally, none of it existed. Miranda was running her own little fiefdom with zero authority. I copied everything, sent it to my cousin in Oklahoma City. He's a lawyer, the good kind. But Miranda wasn't just a petty tyrant. She was running a con. $1 million con, as it turned out. She'd made herself and her buddies exempt from special assessments, raked in fees from the rest of us, then funneled it through shell companies. I traced every penny like I trace a wire, and the whole thing stank to high heaven. By now, Miranda had a fancy law firm from the city threatening me with a $63,000 lawsuit. She tried to take out a lien on my house. Again, totally illegal, but they figured I'd back down. That's when the real ugliness began. My tires got slashed. Anonymous flyers called me a blight on the community. Someone spray-painted "Move Out" on my mailbox in red, her favorite in color. They even dug up an old feud in my wife's family, dragged Sarah's estranged sister into it, tried to claim my house on some technicality. Imagine losing your wife and then having her memory used as a weapon against you. That almost broke me. But then, out of nowhere, a new face showed up, Betty Chun, retired paralegal, sharp as a tack, and mad as hell about what happened to her neighborhood. She'd watch her best friend lose her house to a similar scam and decided she wasn't letting it happen again. Betty became my secret weapon, digging through court records, showing me how to file ethics complaints, connecting me to other victims. With her help, the story got bigger, a lot bigger. Another twist, my buddy Jake, an electrician from the next county, tipped me off to an identical scam in Broken Arrow. Different names, same playbook, same law firm, same shell companies. When we started comparing notes, everything clicked. This wasn't just about me. Miranda was part of a ring ripping off blue-collar folks across Oklahoma. Her husband worked at the bank, approving the foreclosures and buying up houses for pennies. All neat and tidy. Until now. I took it all. Documents, emails, financials, even a recorded phone call of Miranda admitting she was just doing business, and went to the sheriff's financial crimes unit. Detective Bradley took one look at the stack and said, "Son, you just handed us a career case." Suddenly, the feds were involved, the IRS started snooping, and Miranda's world started collapsing. The media picked it up. Marcus, a young reporter, interviewed me on Channel 8, gave voice to every little guy who'd ever been bullied by a board. And let me tell you, watching Miranda scramble when her insurance policy got canceled, her lawyer ditched her, and the neighborhood finally turned on her, that was justice you could feel in your bones. The real fun started when the FBI showed up at Miranda's house with a search warrant. Her perfect world unraveling in front of the whole neighborhood. Her husband was arrested at the bank, their assets frozen, and her own board members resigned. Even her son, remember the kid who broke into my workshop, got suspended after the security footage went viral. The great Ashworth legacy, reduced to tabloid fodder and mugshots. The best part? The same kitchen window Sarah dreamed of now looked out on a community center built from the sale of Miranda's house. Her crimes paid for playgrounds, legal funds for the elderly, scholarships for trade schools. Betty ran the HOA with total transparency. My truck, my battered, beautiful Ford, still sits in my driveway, right where it belongs. So what's the lesson in all this? I'll tell you, but don't expect a neat little Hallmark card. Life is messy, power corrupts, and sometimes the system is designed to grind you down. But here's what most folks miss. Justice isn't just a verdict or a sentence. Justice is the sound of your neighbors laughing at a barbecue paid for by the woman who tried to destroy you. It's a feeling of signing a check to help a widow keep her home. It's waking up every morning knowing you've fought back, not just for yourself, but for every person too scared to stand up. That's what Sarah would have wanted. And karma? Oh, karma's real, friend. Miranda will spend the next 8 years in federal prison thinking about community standards. Her law license is gone. Her bank account's empty. Her name's synonymous with greed. The judge called her crimes an attack on the American dream. I call it the best damn outcome I can imagine. But let me ask you this. Where's the line between enforcing the rules and abusing power? When does a neighborhood watch turn into a neighborhood mafia? I want to hear your stories, your nightmares, your battles, your wins and losses. Drop them in the comments. Let's make some noise because these stories matter. And if you ever find yourself on the wrong end of a power trip, remember, document everything, connect with your neighbors, and don't you dare back down. Hit subscribe if you want more stories of regular people taking on the system and winning. Next time, I'll tell you about the city council member who tried to ruin my business for exposing Miranda's scam, and how that backfired even worse. Until then, keep your boots muddy and your receipts handy. Sometimes, the quiet ones are the most dangerous when pushed too far.